Today's episode of Crushing with Your Tribe has gone to the dogs. That's right. We are talking about our four-legged friends and how we can learn to live with them and they live with us in a more harmonious and cohesive environment. So today's guest, Juliette Jones of Inquiring Noses, LLC, dog training.
As a Texas realtor, Robin McCoy is in the unique position to meet and know so many different people in a wide range of industries. These people are her tribe, and she leverages them not only to help her business, but to help theirs as well. Welcome to Crushing It with Your Tribe, where we share real talk about building business and life relationships. Here is your host, Robin McCoy.
Hi, everyone. It's Robin McCoy, and welcome to another episode of Crushing It with Your Tribe. And today, we're talking about dogs. It's going to be all about dogs. I have Juliette Jones with me, and she is a dog trainer and lover and extraordinaire. She is based in the DFW Metroplex. However, she has what may be a kind of a new concept, which is online virtual dog services or dog training. So she can work multiple time zones. She has, I'll tell you a little bit about her here. She has a love of dogs that started at a very early age, but it wasn't until she got her own dog, Charlie, who I've met, started to experience some anxiety-based behaviors, and she realized really what her passion was. So in 2019, she began her educational journey into all things dog by attending and graduating with distinction from Victoria Stilwell Academy and began working for her mentor in Georgia. In 2020, she moved to Fate, Texas, where Inquiring Noses Dog Training, LLC, was born. And she's gone on to become a fear-free professional and earned the most recognized title of Certified Professional Dog Trainer, Knowledge Assessed through the Certification Council for Professional Dog Trainers. And her educational journey is never ending. And as always, she is attending various webinars and taking courses because she's all about the dogs. Welcome, Juliette.
Thank you. I know it was quite a mouthful.
That was a lot. Who knew there was so much to know,
Yes,
about a dog, right?
So much to know and so much to continue to know.
So let's kind of back up a little bit. So you tell us about Charlie and how he kind of got you on this path.
Yes. Well, I will say that my story is not a unique one. I know many dog trainers get into this industry because of their own dogs. So the idea that the dog trainer's dog is, perfect is no.
Not true?
It's not true.
Good to know.
Not true. He's going to be 9 years old this year. I've had him since 8 weeks. The first few years of his life, he was a very happy social boy. But as he got older, a lot of anxieties started to display themselves, particularly when in Georgia, I was actually doing boarding and daycare in our house with other dogs. And, at first, great, loved playing with them. But over time, he started to it was just too much. Yeah, it was too much.
It's like, okay, this was fun for a minute, but can we get these these other hounds out of my house?
Exactly. It was too much. And he started to display a lot of leash reactivity. So barking, lunging, growling at the end of the leash, resource guarding spaces, food, toys in the house, resource guarding me. I was one of his resources, still very much am. So that his environment wasn't great for him, but all of that stems from his genetics. He's a mixture of 6 different breeds. Looking at his family tree is very clear that no one was planned. So he was essentially set up for failure from the very beginning.
Sure.
Well,
I'm sure a lot of dogs are, a lot of dogs are probably of that genetic makeup, right? Who knows, right? You find a dog at a rescue. Our dog Lulu was found in a box on the side of my friend's house.
I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah, before she even had all her teeth. So we don't know where all these, you don't know where dogs come from.
Right.
You don't know what might be in them
Exactly.
to how they're behaving the way they are.
Exactly. So, once all of his behavior started to display, I got a positive reinforcement trainer in the house, and I learned, and she ended up being my mentor. I learned so much from her, and that kind of jump-started my just obsession with dog behavior. And I was like, this is perfect. This is what I want to do.
This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
So, and I think probably a lot of people too don't realize that, you figure, I went and I learned how to train my dog or something like that. Now you've got all these letters in this alphabet behind your name, but that's, that's important things that tell me about what some of those schools are that you went to and what some of these certifications and that sort of thing that you have. What does that mean for you?
So the dog training industry is completely unregulated. So
of course,
literally anyone could wake up one day and be like, I'm a dog trainer and their only experience is I've had dogs my entire life.
Right.
So what all of these letters show my clients and anyone who's interested in hiring a dog trainer is that I'm educated. I've attended courses, I've attended webinars, I have taken an extensive 200 plus question test on dog behavior and ethology and all of these things. And I'm continuing to learn so that I can best help them.
Well, and I think that's important, like you said, of course, I mean, it's unregulated. Anybody can wake up and say, you know what? My dog doesn't pee in the house. I could be a dog trainer.
Yeah.
I
taught my dog to sit.
I taught my dog to sit. He doesn't run away, whatever, But I think it's important that I think what I've learned from you is that it's important to know where it all stems from. Like you said, is it genetics? Were they found on the side of the road and abused?
Yeah.
Was it a man that abused them versus a woman? So now are they afraid of all men or tall men
absolutely.
or, all these things, but it's learning where that behavior stems from. Some people think, well, he's not a puppy anymore. I think it's a lost cause. So it's not just puppy training, it's dog training.
Right. Learning continues. It is a lifelong journey. It's not just taking a 6-week class or scheduling 8 sessions and being done and saying your dog is trained. They're constantly learning.
Yeah.
And just like with us, like our personalities change over time, our interests change over time, our feelings change over time. Dogs do the same thing, except their life is a lot shorter than ours, so it all happens.
It seems like it's happening more quickly.
Yeah. And it's good to have a background knowledge of what your dog has experienced in their life, but of course, knowing that isn't always possible.
Right.
So I can always, based on just Charlie alone, I can only guess just based on looking at his DNA test.
Yeah. And, who knows what my dog is,
right.
And she's fine. She's great. We love her. She loves us, and she doesn't run out the door when I open it. And so that's a good thing.
Right. Perfect.
So we love that. Because my past dogs did. They'd see the door and they were gone. Gone.
Yeah. So regardless of history, what you know, what you don't know, it's just, you do the best you can to set your dogs up for success, meet their needs, and give them just the best life that they can possibly have.
So it's not, it's never one of those, it's not too late. This dog is already set in his ways.
Nope.
He's
it's
never
usually
going to, that old dog new tricks. Yeah. Wait, well, we talked about that too. It's like you're really training humans, not dogs.
Yeah, exactly. So
tell me a little bit of what that entails, right? So I've got a dog. I need for whatever reasons, it's a new puppy and I need to teach him not to eat things, or it's an older dog and I need him to just behave differently.
Right. So
is this the year that you're going to stop paying rent? Is this the year that you are going to finally purchase your own home? But where do you start? How do you get your questions answered? Well, I'm Robin McCoy, and I'm a Texas realtor with Keller Williams. Relax, I got this. I have a home buyers masterclass the first Saturday of every month, and it's free to you, and it's all online. Just text the word masterclass to 214-226-3770, and we'll get you registered and on the path to home ownership. It's a new puppy and I need to teach him not to eat things, or it's an older dog and I need him to just behave differently.
Right. So it's easy for us to say what we don't want our dogs to do, but there needs to be a what do you want your dog to do? And then set them up for that behavior. So then you can actually reinforce that behavior. And the more you reinforce the desired behavior, the more often it's going to occur.
So it's a positive approach, not the negative approach. So it's positive reinforcement. No, don't get on the sofa.
Right.
It's good. You didn't get on the sofa.
Right. So a lot of the hesitation I see is the management part, is rearranging their house in a way, or setting up a baby gate, or utilizing the crate more, or utilizing the crate less. It kind of depends. And using these tools that we have to prevent undesirable behaviors. Right. So many behaviors are so preventable, just based on, the humans. It's up to us to set boundaries so the dog doesn't fail.
Because I really think, most dogs, I would say the majority of dogs, want to please their human. It seems like it. No?
Not necessarily. See, so dogs essentially do what works for them. So if what works for them also works for us, awesome.
Then all the better.
And so that's kind of what we do, is we teach them that what works for us also works for them.
Oh, it's like, it's good for you.
So
it's
not,
you to do this.
So it's not necessarily that they're doing anything to please us or in spite of us or anything like that. They're just doing things that dogs do.
They're doing dog things.
They're just doing dog things. So that's the important distinction there, I think.
Well, you also say you're a force-free trainer. So tell me what that means.
So that means I do not use shock collars. I don't use prong collars. I don't use choke chains or slip leads or spray bottles or electric fences or anything that will, I don't even yell no or spank my dogs.
Okay.
Anything that involves giving any kind of physical pain or psychological intimidation or just borderline abuse, and in some cases straight up abuse.
Yeah.
And nobody goes into having a dog intending to abuse their dogs or causing pain, but kind of know what you know, and you don't know what you don't know. So
right. So you don't have to use a choke collar to prevent a dog from pulling on the leash and pulling you down the street.
Right. My goal is to teach the dog what we want them to do rather than focusing on what we don't want them to do.
Right.
Because if we teach what we want, we reinforce it, make it the best thing ever for our dogs, and teach them, like I said, that it works for them, then they're going to be more likely to perform those desirable behaviors over the undesirable behaviors when given a choice.
Okay. So you also do this virtually. So are you telling me that you're going to teach me?
Yes.
I mean, so tell me about that, because I'm guessing that a lot of people think, how's that going to work? Because I don't know how to train my dog. So I need to give my dog to you, and I need you to give me my dog back fixed.
Right. Well, despite popular belief, it's actually not a new concept. Separation anxiety trainers do work exclusively virtually because a lot of the work has to be done when no one is home. or just with the dog parent home working various protocols. So it doesn't make sense for the trainer to be in the home for an hour and then to work on separation anxiety.
Yeah.
So virtual training has already been a concept in the dog training world, but just for that specific niche, right?
Okay.
And I know a lot of dog trainers who specialize in like human aggression do virtual training as well, because going into a home where there's a human aggressive dog puts, of course, the dog trainer in danger, but it also stresses the dog out unnecessarily.
Right. Right.
So there's that. But I think virtual training, as far as like just regular basic manners and puppies and whatnot, started more so during the pandemic when kind of we had no other option.
And everybody's like, I need a dog. I'm home now all the time. Right, I need a dog.
Right. And I think during that period, I think we all kind of started realizing how much is actually possible just like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But what makes virtual training so great is whether I'm in the home or not, I'm teaching the person. I'm teaching the human how to teach their dog. You know, I'm only there for an hour every week for X number of weeks. And then the rest of the time, 23 other hours, I'm not there. You're there. You're the one who has the opportunity to reinforce these behaviors. You have the opportunity to teach these behaviors. So it's ultimately my job to teach the dog parents what to do, how to do it. And then they take what I teach them and actually implement it into their everyday lives.
Well, and I would imagine, just thinking about this as you were saying that, I was thinking that if you're not in the room with me and doing this, even though you may be teaching me to do whatever the activity is, I'm more likely to learn it, understand it, and internalize it if you're not right in the room doing it with me. Does that make sense? Am I saying what I think I'm saying?
I think so, yeah.
That you know, I know if I've got you right there, you're like the safety net.
Yes.
Where you will, you know, correct my behavior or the dog's behavior. But if you're remote, you're there, but you can say, okay, Robin, instead of using this, do that, or whatever that may be. I mean, I just think it will internalize with me better, and the dog won't be distracted by you in the same room. Does that makes sense?
Yeah, I think so. I think it makes sense. Yeah, there definitely is a dependency on dog trainers. Yeah, I think people feel, and I think that hinders their ability to do some critical thinking on their own. So I really like to try to explain to my clients, like, okay, this is why, or at least possibly why this behavior is happening. And, or when you see a different behavior, you're not sure about it, like think about, okay, what was happening before? What was happening during? What was the body language saying? You know, they need to be able to ask themselves these questions and answer them themselves, because I'm not always going to be there. They can possibly record the video and send it to me, and I can analyze it and send my feedback, but that's not always going to be possible. They can try their best to describe the behavior to me, and a lot of times that's very helpful. But ultimately, they're the ones in front of the dog all the time. So not being so dependent on the dog trainer will actually help them be a better dog trainer for their dog.
Right. And just ongoing, right?
Ongoing, yes.
Ongoing. So whether it's a puppy.
Yeah.
Or all of a sudden I get an adult dog that suddenly is behavior's changing.
Yeah. Okay.
You said you're not moving in forever, right?
Yeah. It's like if it was possible for me to be there like a fly on the wall, I totally would. But you know, it's just not realistic. Yeah. So if they're able to take the knowledge that they've learned from me and have it with them for the rest of their lives. So if a new behavior pops up, well, that wasn't happening before, that's new. Okay, what's wrong? Was it stress? Was it boredom? Is the dog in pain? Do we need to take the dog to the vet? Like, what was happening? Why was this behavior occurring? Because every single thing a dog does serves a purpose for that dog. So it's important to understand why something is happening.
We think our dogs have it so easy, right? Look, all you
Right.
do is I feed you, I let you out 800 times a day, and you sleep. So
Right.
what have you got to be upset about? Right? That's kind of how the human thinking.
Sure.
Of that.
Yeah. We gave you a roof over your head. What more do you want?
What else do you want? What do you want from me?
Yeah.
And yet dogs hear everything. And we'll get to kind of the name of your company here in a second, but they hear everything and they smell everything, and they are so much more hypersensitive to sounds, sights, the air than we are. So we don't know, right?
Absolutely.
So Inquiring Noses, let's talk about the name of this, because when you told me that, I went, what? And it made perfect sense once you told me.
Yeah. So like it kind of stems from inquiring minds want to know, right? Dogs use their noses to explore, to gain information, to relax, to relieve stress, to do so many things. Their noses are just amazing. Like their noses are just amazing. Yeah. And so that kind of just, it's kind of how it started.
Well, so, and when, it's Inquiring Noses, that's where they learn everything. And yet, and it is about teaching an animal that you can't communicate in English. I know we think our dogs can speak English.
Right. They don't speak our language at all.
They don't speak our language at all, so it's, I think what it gets down to is just like with children, you've got to get to their level, right? You have to be be the dog. Imagine if you were scared of everything. Why are you scared of everything? And see how much we can learn. And then how can we make that, because our dogs are our pets. They become parts of our family. They live with us for a very long time.
Absolutely.
And they are dependent upon us.
Yes. For literally
for
everything.
life and health and all of those things.
Yeah.
So I think we all want to be able to have a nice, happy animal family with us. And that's
understanding their dog and understanding what their needs are and being able to meet those needs is so important to actually have that harmonious household of two different species living together.
Yeah. And one dog may not be the same as the other dog.
Yes.
Or just because you had that, you had a chocolate lab before does not mean this chocolate lab is going to be the same.
Right. Yes.
And they all have their own personalities.
Yes. Every dog has their own personality, their own behavior traits. The breed itself is a good base, what this dog is maybe prone to do, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be that way.
Yeah. It's not, drop dead fact. It's going to be different things.
Right. Now, so that's the genetic side of things. And of course, the environment, whether they were properly socialized or under socialized or over socialized.
Well, I know our dog was completely under socialized when we got her. And so we she and we, I don't want to say suffer. She's fine in the house.
Yeah.
She just doesn't go out to other places where there's other dogs and lots of people.
And that's okay.
And it's okay. As much as I want to take her places, she doesn't care for it. And so she almost looks at us like, don't ask me to go. Don't take me.
That is such a huge thing. I love that you recognize that she doesn't want to go. She doesn't need to go, so you're not going to take her.
Be the leader you know you can be. Build your professional network and access education that takes you where you want to go. We are women of all ages and backgrounds. You deserve national recognition and opportunities to build relationships with people you want to work and grow with. Hit the ground running with the Charisma chapter of the American Business Women's Association. Meetings each month from 6 to 8:30 p.m. on the fourth Tuesday in Farmers Branch, Texas, and online. Come with us. Experience ABWA for yourself. Go to charisma.abwa.org to learn more.
That is such a huge thing. I love that you recognize that she doesn't want to go. She doesn't need to go. So you're not going to take her.
I'm not going to take her.
But I know a lot of people have this fantasy idea of being able to take their dog to their kid's soccer game or out to a cafe to sit on the outdoor porch. or, things like that. That's not always going to be possible. We may be able to work up to that, but it may not ever be possible.
Maybe
we
not.
Don't know. Exactly. And that's okay.
And it's okay. The dog's not bad because she doesn't want to go to the brewery with me.
Right. Right.
She just prefer to stay at home. And that's okay. She's a bit of a homebody, and that's fine.
Exactly. And those very well-behaved, quiet dogs you see out in public are those few and far between. Yeah. You don't see the dogs like, was it Lulu, right?
Lulu,
and Charlie out in public because that's not the environment for them.
They're introverts, okay? They're just introverts.
Yes, dogs can absolutely be a little introverted, extroverted. Absolutely.
Yeah. So what should somebody do? I mean, how do we know? Would you say all dogs need a professional like yourself? Or how do we know when it's time to call in a professional?
I mean, in a perfect world, yes, everyone should get a professional dog trainer at some point in their lives, just to gain that deeper understanding of their dogs at the bare minimum. I tell clients, if you learn nothing else from me, learn dog body language, because that is how you'll be able to understand what they're trying to communicate to you. So that's at the very, very minimum. Okay. But as far as like puppies go, the moment they get home, start working with them, specifically on socialization. It's never too early to start training. And if you get a dog trainer in early, you'll have more ability to prevent those undesirable behaviors that I often get called for, like jumping on people, loose leash walking. All of these things can be prevented from the beginning if we just teach our dogs what we want them to do. Then they never have the ability to practice the undesirable behaviors
because they just don't do it.
Right.
They don't pull on the leash because they were taught early on that this is how we walk. We walk
right. Absolutely. Exactly.
To the side of me, not in front of me or behind me.
Exactly.
Kind of a thing.
Exactly.
Well, there's one thing, because we talked about and we could go into real depth about every kind of behavior and how, where it may come from. We could get real deep with it. But what is one other thing? If somebody is sitting at home and they're staring at their dog, what is one thing that you would say to them that maybe they can do, or what they should do, or just make them feel like they're okay, they haven't failed their animal?
It's easy for us to be so hard on ourselves. Even with Charlie, I put a lot of blame on myself for a lot of his behaviors, even though I know his genetics would have caused him to be this way, regardless of what I did in my home with other dogs.
Yeah.
So
the anxiety would have shown up somehow.
It would have shown up at some point, I believe. So just be easy on yourself. Just remember you are doing it the best you can with the information you have. All the cliche sayings, you know better, you do better.
Right.
You don't know what you don't know. So that's really the best thing. Everyone should know.
Yeah. I mean, just like anything else, you don't know what you don't know. And when you do know, then, and educate yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And, so we've got Juliette's information going to be all in the show notes. Please go out and check out her website. Follow her on the socials because she puts a lot of good information out there. Just on recognizing behaviors and what some of those dog behaviors may look like, and all of that. And so reach out to her. She truly does have this passion. She loves the dogs.
I do.
More than anything I've ever seen. More than anything I've ever seen. So
I do. My life kind of revolves around dogs.
Yeah. I mean, she's all her shirts usually have something about a dog, and
reinforcement drives behavior.
There you go. So anyway, Juliette, thank you so much for spending a little time with me today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I think this is good for all the humans and their dogs. And like I said, she does it virtually. So you don't have, because I know sometimes it's like, oh, I've got to go to work and I got to pick up the kids. I don't have time to take a dog, nor do I want somebody in my house. Or maybe, you don't want to drive an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Now it's virtual.
Yeah. You don't have to clean your house. You can wear pajamas.
It's okay.
It's all
okay. So,
and I think the best
that
thing
eliminates
your dog
a lot.
is more focused on you.
Yes,
than
I
the
think
new
that's
fun person with treats.
Because they're already used to the TV being on and ignoring that. So
Sure.
if you've got this, because I'm guessing it's through Zoom or something like that.
Yeah,
So you've got this
Zoom.
monitor up. They're used to those sounds and those. It's not another human in the house to be distracted by. I guess is what I'm getting to.
Right. It definitely sets the dog and the human up for way more success than if I were to be there in person. Yeah.
So there you go. So you don't have time. You don't have to go somewhere. You don't have to clean up your house. You don't have to get dressed. You don't have to, the dog doesn't have to get used to anybody new. So it's virtual. And I think that's an amazing concept.
Thank you.
So, all right, folks. Well, that's a wrap on our talk about dogs today. Juliette Jones, Inquiring Noses LLC dog training. So, like I said, everything's in the show notes. Check her out and tune in next time. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for Crushing With Your Tribe so you don't ever miss an episode of all the cool people I get to know. Now you get to know them too. So, anyway, have a great one and we'll talk soon.
Thanks for joining us for Crushing It With Your Tribe with Texas Realtor Robin McCoy. Check out all the show notes for contact information on Robin and her guests and to access your free resources and information discussed on this episode. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a conversation. Thanks again, and we will see you next time on Crushing It With Your Tribe with Robin McCoy.